The storm inside the WNBA has been building for months, a rising pressure system fueled by record-breaking viewership, sold-out arenas, and rivalries that have turned into national talking points. But beneath all the noise, the Indiana Fever have become the center of a different kind of drama. One rooted in frustration, fractured chemistry, and the weight of expectations placed on a franchise that suddenly became the face of the league. As the cameras kept rolling and headlines kept glowing, cracks began forming behind the scenes, revealing tension between veterans and their new superstar, Caitlin Clark. And now, the situation has escalated to a point where owner Steve Simon is reportedly preparing a move that could reshape not only the Fever, but the entire WNBA. Whispers say he has reached out to one woman, a pioneer whose name alone commands respect across generations, someone capable of restoring order in a league that has lost its balance. That woman is Cheryl Miller. Steve Simon has always been a patient and strategic owner, but even patience has a limit. This season has pushed him closer than ever to that edge. He watched the team he believed would thrive under newfound attention instead crumble under it. He saw frustration simmer in the locker room as veterans questioned their roles, while Caitlin Clark carried the burden of unrealistic expectations. Every misrotation and every locker room disagreement became national news. What should have been a season of growth turned into a season of damage control. The Fever were no longer just a basketball team. They were a weekly soap opera unfolding in front of millions. Simon's silence over the months wasn't indifference. It was observation. And now, according to insiders, his conclusion is simple. The Fever do not need another assistant, another analyst, or another temporary solution. They need a leader who commands universal respect, someone capable of redefining a culture. They need the one person who changed women's basketball before it was even a global conversation. Cheryl Miller's name doesn't need promotion. Her legacy has lived for decades without social media, endorsements, or PR teams. She redefined the sport at a time when women's basketball received almost no coverage. She dominated opponents through sheer skill, fierce competitiveness, and an uncompromising demand for excellence. Everyone from young rookies to the biggest names in the WNBA grew up hearing stories about her. Her impact runs so deep that even those who never watched her play feel her influence. So when reports surfaced that Steve Simon quietly reached out to her, the reaction across the league was immediate. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about what has gone wrong. With the Fever, it became about what could go right. If the team embraced a leader whose presence changes the temperature in every room she walks into, the connection between Simon and Miller isn't accidental. Their families have known each other for decades, and both understand the basketball culture of Indiana better than most. So when Simon reached out, the discussion wasn't about patching holes. It was about building a foundation that could finally handle the pressure Caitlin Clark brings. Miller, according to insiders, didn't shy away from the idea. If anything, she responded with the kind of determination that made her a legend in the first place. She didn't promise comfort or compromise. She promised transformation. And that single intention has already reshaped expectations around what the Fever's future could look like. While this has been unfolding quietly behind closed doors, Caitlin Clark has been navigating a storm of her own. No rookie in league history has carried the level of scrutiny she faces daily. Every shot she takes becomes a debate. Every foul becomes a headline. Every game becomes a televised referendum on her value. She has sold out arenas, broken records, and introduced millions of new fans to the WNBA. But the pressure has been relentless. Those closest to her say she has remained composed publicly, yet behind the scenes the frustration has grown. She still believes in her teammates. She still sees the potential. But she sees something else too. A lack of system. A lack of structure. A lack of direction. And for someone whose career has always thrived under brilliant coaching and clear leadership, that has become a burden she cannot carry alone. This is where Cheryl Miller shifts from rumor to necessity. She understands the weight of carrying a sport. She lived it long before the WNBA existed, long before television networks invested millions, long before crowds packed arenas. She knows how to lead through pressure because she built her career in it. And that's why her presence would not only stabilize the Fever, but redefine what leadership means in a league, struggling with internal chaos. Miller doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need to argue. Her reputation speaks for her. Veterans straighten up when she enters a room. Young stars listen. Executives pay attention. She brings an authority that doesn't need introduction, reports suggest. Simon and Miller have already met privately in Indianapolis to discuss a consultant-type role, a stepping stone to something much bigger. This would allow Miller to evaluate the culture, the roster, and the coaching pipeline before taking a more official position. That role could evolve into head coach advisor, or even a hybrid leadership position that blends basketball strategy with organizational influence. This idea has already sparked excitement across the league because Cheryl Miller isn't just a potential coach. She is a stabilizing force for a sport that has never needed stability more. The WNBA is filled with unprecedented talent right now. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, and a rising generation of stars have pushed the league into mainstream culture. But talent without structure becomes tension. Rivalries turn into resentment. Storylines turn into distractions. Cheryl Miller represents the antidote. She would bring back discipline, structure, and accountability. She would eliminate the entitlement that sometimes overshadows performance. And perhaps most importantly, she would help Caitlin Clark evolve from rookie phenom to generational champion. Imagine the moment, Caitlin. Clark walks into her first practice